Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I am here for the blog hop for the July Flavor of the Month card kit from Scrapping for Less called Birthday Wishes. Now you're going to notice those couple pictures right there, the ones with all the pineapples and that one with the flamingos. You will not see that as I'm going through my kit and making these cards. Those were not sent to us yet. Don't worry, they will be in your kits when you get them. So you can expect to see some design team posts dealing with those couple things that were missed in ours because they weren't ready yet. But like I said, don't worry, they will be in your kit when you get them, and they will actually be sent to us very soon as well. So this kit is called Birthday Wishes, like I said, and it comes with the standard 6 sheets of colored cardstock and 2 sheets of white, which is the Nina 110 Smooth Solar Crest cardstock. The colors today, or that they have with the kit, are whipped cream, grout gray, orange fizz, jelly bean green, pink lemonade, grape jelly, and those are all my favorite things, cardstock. So this card that I'm making here is from Collection 1, and I used sketch number 1. In this kit for Collection 1, we have the Happy Birthday Boy by Echo Park Paper, an Avriel Party Fox, it's an exclusive stamp for Stamping for Less, Echo Park Frames and Tags, a Happy Birthday stickers, and Scrapping for Less is actually making their own sequins now. So all of the sequins in the kit are from Scrapping for Less. So this first one, I decided on the papers. I cut the frame out using a die cut, and I was just doing some Copic coloring here, making the foxes. One of the things with the frames being small, I wanted to have them like they were actually in the frame, so I wasn't worried about having a perfect or the complete stamp or how the coloring kind of was on the bottom, because a lot of that was going to be cut out. For the fox coloring, I used a little bit of light orange to kind of give it the tone that foxes have, I guess. And along with the brown, so I kind of had that underlying orange color in there. When I picked out the paper, one of the sheets had some phrases and sayings on there, and one of them was hooray. So instead of using a stamp for the sentiment, I just decided I would use that hooray and stick it inside of the frame as well. So the two little foxes are going to be in the frames, and with the sketch there is a fish-tailed banner, a couple of fish-tailed banners, and those are kind of covering up the end of the one frame and the small one. So I thought it would be cute just to have those couple pictures there hanging out. Now I just ended up fussy cutting all of the stamps in this kit. I wasn't making a ton of them, and they were pretty simple designs, so I was just able to fussy cut them pretty easily. And then you'll see I just kind of start fiddling around and putting them in there, figuring out where I want, where they're going to fit the best. I had a little trouble trying to think of how I was going to get them in the exact spot I needed. So what I ended up deciding to do was using the inside of that scalloped edge frame and the piece that is cut out from the inside of it, and I kind of flipped it around and used a different color. And I'm not sure what happened there, but apparently I lost some of my footage, and you will be able to see that card at the end. This now is kit number 4, and there we are back there. Okay, so I guess what apparently happened was I had the wrong stuff inside the wrong clip inside of there. Anyway, so yeah, now we're back here. And I was just making those edges, and like I said, I was having some trouble figuring out how I was going to get that, so I just decided to use the back of that paper. I initially tried to glue it down there. After I did all of this, it dawned on me that I should have just used some removable tape, and that would have made a lot more sense, but I didn't think about that till after I was done, so I kind of went this way. I just kind of figured out my placement, and then I glued them down there, cut the hooray out to make sure that it would fit with inside of the frame, and then put the fishtails on there. I did end up deciding that I wanted to pop up that center, so I end up using a piece of fun foam on that panel right there that's going to go in the center of the frame, and I just use it on the complete panel. So I just put some weight on there so that could dry a little bit, make sure that all those pieces are down, and then I'm just figuring out where my fishtail banners are going to go. I end up using some of the Scrapping for Less sequins. It's kind of super exciting that now not only are they making their own stamps, but they're making their own sequins as well. In the Banana Split kit, you get some Nuvo White Blizzard glitter drops, the Wishes die by Sunny Studio, and if you saw the sneak peek, I actually used that in the sneak peek. A mini embossing folder, and a Flamingo birthday stamp set, which is the one that you saw in the beginning that, like I said, I do not have yet, but don't worry, you will get it. So there is the finished card. I think the foxes turned out just adorable. Now moving on to the second kit. This, again, I stayed pretty close to the sketch. I used sketch number 2, and I picked out my papers, and I wanted to use different ones, and so there's actually 3 panels for it, so I used one of each of the papers that come with it. This collection includes the Happy Birthday Girl by Echo Park. The stamp is by Sunny Studio called Make a Wish, and it's another exclusive for Scrapping for Less. Echo Park frames and tags, Happy Birthday ribbon, which I wanted to use, and I ended up forgetting to put it on the panel before I glued it down. And then another mix of the Scrapping for Less sequins. I was picking out I made all of my card bases prior to starting to make the cards. I cut them all down. Some of them I made top folding, some of them I made side folding. They are all standard A2 size cards that I made, so they're 5.5 by 4.25. And then the panels, when I cut the panels on these, I kind of had to estimate on what I was doing, because it doesn't actually give you measurements on it. So for the largest panel on the back, it was the largest back piece of it is 2 3/4 inches by 5.25. I'm sorry, that was 3 inches by 5.25. And then the smaller size, I just made 1/4 inch less for each of the panels. The second tall panel is 2 inches wide by 4.5, and then the oval circle I just made big enough to fit my birthday cake in there. Now I left this pretty simple. I used some Copics just to color it, just a couple colors. I initially did a different color for that center candle, and then I decided I didn't like it, so I made it the same color, and it's a little bit darker, so it works because it looks like it's darker in the background. But I left the coloring on this simple and white, because what I ended up doing was taking those Nuvo White Blizzard glitter drops and putting it all over the center of the card like it for the icing. Again, I just fussy cut this. It's a very simple pattern, so it was easy just to fussy cut out. And this one I know does actually cut out on it. I don't know what happened in that first one. I have part of another clip in there, but anyways, for this one I do know the end cuts out, but like I said, once I cut everything out and I pieced it all together, there really wasn't, I just followed the sketch so that you're not really missing anything, and then you kind of can see the afterwards of it. I did pop up that second long panel just to give it a little dimension, and then I popped up half of the oval just so that it was even with the thing. And I put a couple of those scrapping for less sequins on there. The third collection is extremely cute, and for this one I used Sketch 3, Escape to Paradise paper by Bo Bunny. The stamp is a Sizzix pineapple stamp and die set, and it is very, very cute. In here we also get foil, which I did not use, the gold foil, but that is really kind of cool. And here I was just going through, looking at everything that was in there, and then I was deciding, I don't know what you do, but what I do when I'm using sketches in particular and making the sketches for like this, I kind of go through and figure out what is going to work best with each one and which stamp sets I think will work best, and then I kind of number them and say, okay, I want this one with this and this with that. And for, like I said, this one I decided that Sketch 3 was going to be the best. Now when I started stamping these, I don't even know what I was thinking. I know that they were solid images for the pineapples, and so I stamped them, and then I was looking and thinking how I was going to color them. So then I decided to get some Lawn Fawn grass, green grass, fresh cut grass, something like that is the name of it, to use on there. And then I have my Tim Holtz platform that I'm going to use, because after I had stamped it a couple times, I realized that I was going to probably need to make sure that I stamped it a couple times in the same spot to get a really good image of it. Now, what I ended up doing, because I wasn't sure how to color this, and I looked at the die afterwards and realized that those little sunglasses there's actually a die for that, but I had just stamped it on there with some VersaFine black ink, and then I stamped one with the glasses and one with the little face. But there is a die for the sunglasses, so you can just stamp that separately. So this one, what I was actually doing now is coloring, and after I practiced a little bit to figure out how I wanted to color it, I went in there, and so I did some edging and some shadowing with browns, and then I took orangish yellow and yellow to do the rest of the coloring. I end up putting these two together because I didn't like how right by the leaves kind of came out on the one, so I wanted to cover them up, so I kind of made them go over each other, which you'll see in a minute when this gets done. But I thought the pineapples turned out cute, and they are really with the little face, and I love the glasses. I just adore the glasses. I think they're way too cute for the little pineapple to be having the glasses on. I just used a little bit of pink there for the cheeks of the pineapple, which the one with the glasses, you really can't see that. And then I used the pineapple die cut to cut out the images. And on that one right there that you're looking at, it's a little bit close to the edge. I was a little concerned, but it ended up coming up fine. You really couldn't tell anything. So then I was going through and picking out my papers and trying to decide what exactly I wanted to do and what card base. The papers themselves didn't have any green, and since the leaves of the pineapple were green, I thought that green, jelly bean green, went perfectly with it. And again, I just followed the sketch, cut out some pieces, used the scrapping for less sequins, and then I ended up putting some glossy accents on the glasses just to give it a little bit more. This now is collection 4, and in collection 4 it's Free Spirit or On Point by My Favorite Things paper that you're getting. The stamp is Create a Smile, Rock On. It's an exclusive stamp for Stamping for Less, and this is the one that I actually made my sneak peek on. I really liked it, so that's why you can kind of see I already have pieces cut out all over. There were music stickers, music ribbon, and then the Scrapping for Less sequins were included with this collection. For this one, I decided to use Sketch 4. No, I'm sorry, Sketch 3 for Collection 4. And I was just going to use the ribbon for kind of that side piece. I thought that would look cool. And then with the paper colors, I kind of kept to the same. I cut out all of the pieces that I decided how I wanted it to go. I don't have a die or anything that cuts like just a straight scalloped edge like that. I guess I could have used a frame and then just cut it out, but I didn't. I just actually thought about that as I was sitting here. But I thought that the waves in the pattern paper kind of worked well with that. So I knew on the square one that is in this sketch I wanted to use a light color because I was going to stamp the sentiment on there. And then I just took some of my chameleon markers. I've been using the Copics a lot because they cost me a fortune and I am going to get my money's worth one way or another. But I do love my chameleons and I haven't given them enough love lately, so I decided I needed to pull them out. But I just used some similar colors as that are in the papers. For the coloring, this is really simple. I didn't do any shadowings or anything like that. There really isn't a lot going on as far as that. Very simple coloring. I used hot cocoa, I believe, is the brown I used for the radio itself. I don't know, this kind of gives me a retro feel, like one of the radios that I had when I was a kid, my parents had when I was little. And then just some dark brown for the feet and part of the knobs. And then what I ended up doing was just fussy cutting that and taking glossy accents and putting it all around the outside. So the hot cocoa color brown all over that. So this I was just using some of the tape runner to put it on the panel, the piece of ribbon. I did end up popping this card up because with the ribbon it was a little, I don't know, like off, and I didn't want it to look off, and with the fun foam it's a little more forgiving. So I cut that and popped that on there. I had the circles and the squares, and I was just deciding where exactly. I had to make them larger than the picture because the radio wouldn't fit into a circle that tiny, and that's the image I wanted to use. And then this card had the fishtailed banners, and I know people like to make fun of me because I save every little bitty scrap that I have from things, but see, it came in handy here because I was able to make these perfect banners for this card. So after I put the rest of the panels on, I used the You Rock sentiment from the stamp set, and then I put some of the music note stickers on there, and then just put the tape on there and popped that up on the grout gray cardstock. I put the Scrapping for Less sequins on there all over it, and then you'll see in a second is where I get the glossy accents and put it all over that radio. And that's about it for that card. I really enjoyed this kit. I think you will have a great time doing your amazing cards as well. And if you haven't got yours yet, you want to make sure that you jump over to Scrapping for Less. The blog hop, I'm sure, is going to show some awesome designs. I can't wait till it starts so I can look at all of them as well. And I hope everybody had a great day. Thanks for joining me, and I hope everybody takes care.